This is 200 yards. Same spot. And we're out. Okay. The gun. Cuban K1. This is my new system. I needed to get the bipod out to the end of the barrel, and that shore way over there is where I'm shooting. I'd like to put it on paper for you guys. It now shoots 203 yards. It will shoot under 3/4 of an inch group every time. And the ammo I am now using is cast. Look at the line on it. Now, if I use NSA, I get a tighter group. And another thing, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but look at the wind. 18-mile-an-hour wind right now. Slugs are 51 grains. I did something different. Let's go in the house and I'll explain what I'm doing with this rifling now that gives you these groups. And I am going to start offering a service. If you guys don't want to do this, work yourself on the barrels, which I understand. A lot of guys don't. Yeah, I'm still going to give you all the information you need if you're going to do it yourself. I'm going to start a service tuning these guns. Nobody else that I know of knows how to do the barrels, knows how to take these barrels and make them accurate, to feel the inconsistencies and to make them consistent. And I did another different thing. I call it a progressive rifling. Microns I took off at the beginning, right? And steps. Got to do it on the lathe. So what that does is you're not changing your bore diameter, but what you're doing is you're allowing an unchoked barrel to have a little bit more tightness right at the end. And you're using the rifling to do that. So the rifling is, I mean, and we're talking microns, guys. I mean, it is such a light, taper that you could never even see it with your eye. That allows your slug to get the best bite, the rifling, where it needs it, especially at the end. So it keeps your slug tight. You get no wobble. It's just incredible. I'm so happy with this gun. It's unbelievable now. And I'm hoping to shoot a 1/2-inch group at that far with maybe some Nielsen's. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but I'll explain it all to you. All right, guys, you probably just saw that video on that Cuban. Still, it's got that short barrel 18-inch. And I was shooting that cast ammo, and that stuff is terrible. If you look at the quality, not only do you have the line from the cast, and it's got some flashing at the back, you got to scrape it off, but they're not even round. The bolt tails on the end aren't even round. So I was shocked when I was shooting a 3/4 inch consistently with it. And, if you do get a flyer with cast ammo, it's because there's an air pocket in those things. They're terrible. That's why I don't like using cast. But 51 grains, 18-mile-an-hour winds, you saw what it could do. I would have put it on paper, but it's so muddy there, there was no way. And now I'm excited to do this Ed gun choke. I figured out the best way to do it. I already started it. I just wanted to see the first step, what size bit I would use. So I've got all the size bits we're going to use on a 25 cal. And then you do the same thing with a 22. You figure out the first step. This way your drill stays nice and straight. And then we're going to power that thing up. We're going to put a 200 bar regulator in it. I'm going to take a regular, I've got a Huma in there, so I'm going to use that. That regulator is like good to 160, but we're going to make it a 200 bar. And I would think with a 40 grain, we should be able to shoot 1,080, maybe 1,100 at least. Accurately, I'm hoping, because, you know, we're always a slave to the twist rate. But I'm also excited about that progressive choke. Now, like I said, it's microns, you know, but it does allow the slug to stay very snug as it goes down the barrel in the rifling. And I explained that to you before. When you take the chokes off these guns, or you have an unchoked barrel, you want the very end snugger than the rest. You don't want a tight choke, because chokes, if you have a choked barrel, you're trying to shoot slugs, you're going to get flyers, and you're not going to get great accuracy. You know, I've seen day states, I don't know if they're unchoked or choked, get some pretty good groups. You know, they're getting an inch group at 100 yards, but look at my cheap Chinese P12, half inch. Every time, fellas, no flyers. Every time I shoot that gun, it's a half inch. That gun is the first gun I pick up when I go outside. That is the gun. 140 yards, shooting squirrels. Not the second shot. I hit them on the first shot. Every time. It's just incredible. As long as I do my part. You know, I have those days when I screw it up because I'm in a hurry. And I know. And right as I squeeze the trigger, I already know I already screwed it up. But, you know, back to these barrels. I'm going to offer a service. I will start tuning these guns. You know, if you guys out there who don't want to do it, and I understand why you don't want to do it, whether you have a competition gun, you have AEAs, which are unbelievable guns, guys. They are giving FX a run for their money. And I know those guns can shoot a half-inch group, 3/4-inch group at 100 yards every time. They are just great. They are well made. They have a great barrel. They just need to be finished. You know, you look at these FX barrels, they say they finish them first, and they do. They polish them, right? So there's your finish. Then they press the rifling from the outside. But the problem is, the tubes aren't perfect. They have spots where they're not the same size all through the barrel. So when you get that rifling pressed in, it's all different diameters. And like I said, you can fix them, but guys, they're so expensive. If you love your FX guns, get yourself a Walther Poly, not a TJ barrel. I don't know why anybody would put a TJ barrel on an air gun. They're $300. They are a waste of money, because Walther Poly barrels, even a normal rifled barrel from Walther, is just exceptional. You see the groups I'm getting. So I'm going to offer the service, tuning services, and whether you have a Beeman QB Chief or you have a Day State, your guns are going to be unbelievably accurate. And that's how it should be. You know, all you guys know how I feel about guns that are under 500 bucks. You know how I feel. Look at the QB Chief. The whole gun is steel. Every bit of it. Even the trigger. And the trigger guard. I think the only thing that wasn't steel on my QB before it was made by, you know, branded by Beeman was the barrel band. And they may have started making those out of steel now too. But the whole gun is steel. And I consistently see guys on YouTube, just everyday guys, shooting an inch, 1.2 inch group, 1 inch group at 100 yards with a $189 gun. Now, once you take those guns and you do that barrel and you take care of the choke, or if you have a choke, you remove it for slugs. You do the valve. This way you have the very, very consistent hit every time, which they are pretty consistent to begin with. But we need to make them perfect. They got to be perfect. 2 FPS spread is what you have to have. Once you have a 2 FPS spread, and you also need to Take your ammunition. It all has to be sized. I don't care if it's pellets. Because if you get one that's bigger, that's going to be 5 or 6 FPS difference. That's going to be one that's going to drop lower. So you really need to do that too. But I'm going to offer my services when I post my next video on doing the choke, which is going to be soon because I'm excited to see what we end up with. We're going to see exactly where we end up with this Ed gun. I love the Ed gun. It's gorgeous. It's got a Walther barrel, and it is going to be awesome. We're going to shoot that thing at 200 yards on paper, of course, because if you're not shooting paper, how can you believe anything? If you're shooting at animals at 200 yards and you're editing it, and you're not showing the 3 misses, the 4 misses before you hit, how is that fair to you guys? I'm going to put it on paper, and you can judge what it is. And then if you want to take me, you know, have me do your guns, definitely I will do your guns. I will take care of them just like mine. And every gun I do will be done to competition air gun standards. I don't care if it's a Gauntlet, a Beeman QB Cheap, of Air Venturi, whatever you guys have. Your Uruguay, your that new Vixen, that's a pretty cool gun. They're up there in price. And of course, the biggest, new, baddest gun on the market that I think there is AEA air guns. They are exceptionally well made. They are consistent. They're great guns. Very good guns. Matter of fact, they're so good that I noticed that some top shooters who review them, if you watch them shoot their top guns, watch how they rest their guns, right? When they're shooting their so-called best guns in the world that they claim, they got a bipod and they got a sandbag on the back of the stock. But when they shoot the AEA, they have a bipod, or they might be resting on a sandbag, but there's no sandbag at the end of the stock. You guys got to watch closely. So they're purposely trying to make the groups look a little worse. Because, you know, if you're selling $2,200 guns, your profit is $700-800. You know, when you're selling an AEA, what are you making? $100, $150? So, what do you think they're going to be pushing? Whatever makes them the money. That's why I think that all air guns should be sold by the manufacturer. They should set up a distribution center here and in every country, and they should be moved right from the manufacturer. This way, we're not paying extra money to go to a retailer where they mark it up $500, $600, $700. It's really not fair to us. But, you know, I guess we got to do what we got to do. We're air gunners. We're in love with them, and they are exceptional. And one way or another, we are going to make yours great. Either you're going to do it yourself with all the info I give you, or I'll do it for you. And hopefully I get some guys with competition guns. That's what I want to see. I want to see some guys with competition guns, have me do the guns, and then see how they do. And I hope they're AEA guns. I hope these guys have day states. And they say, you know what? I want to try a Chinese gun and shoot it at competitions. And, oh, I will build them a gun. That is major to me, to get a Chinese gun into a competition and win. And it is not going to be hard. You guys know. You guys that own them, you know the quality of the guns. They're exceptional. So, my next video will be coming soon. We're going to do that choke. Maybe I'll show you how I do the regulator too, because it's really easily done. I did sell my Ed gun tool for checking to see what my regs were set at, but I already know the shim size I need because I did it before. So we're good there. So till the next time, enjoy your guns.